Have you ever found yourself reaching for something you really didn't intend to eat, and in that moment, the food seemed to have a much louder voice than your goals? Today, I am sharing one of my favorite mind hacks for putting yourself back in the driver's seat: future pacing. It's a technique we use in hypnosis that helps you mentally fast forward beyond the immediate craving or impulse and connect with how you truly want to feel 30 minutes from now, tomorrow morning, at the end of the weekend, or even 6 weeks from now. And instead of letting your brain show you the very short movie of the cookie bite, we're going to extend the movie and bring the reward of feeling free, aligned, and proud of how you showed up for yourself into the decision you're making right now. So come on in. Did you know that our struggle with weight doesn't start with the food on your plate or get fixed in the gym? 80% of our weight struggle is mental. That's right. The key to unlocking long-term weight release and management begins in your mind. Hi there, I'm Rita Black. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, weight loss expert, best-selling author, and the creator of the Shift Weight Mastery process. And not only have I helped thousands of people over the past 20 years achieve long-term weight mastery, I am also a former weight struggler, carb addict, and binge eater. And after 2 decades of failed diets and fad weight loss programs, I lost 40 pounds with the help of hypnosis. Not only did I release all that weight, I have kept it off for 25 years. Enter the Thin Thinking podcast, where you too will learn how to remove the mental roadblocks that keep you struggling. I'll give you the thin thinking tools, skills, and insights to help you develop the mindset you need, not only to achieve your ideal weight, but to stay there long term and live your best life. Sound good? Let's get started. Hello, hello, hello. Happy week wherever you are in it. Come on in, set yourself down, and have a seat, y'all. I remember working in the South, many years ago, and there was this woman named Flossie who, and this, I believe me, this all comes into our subject today, but Flossie was the hostess of the Southern Country Diner that I worked with, and she wore a square dancing outfit to work. She wore a bouffant hairdo, lots of makeup, and silver sandals. And she would come on in and tell everybody to set on down, set yourself on down. And the owner would come in and say, "You don't say set, you say sit." She goes, "No, I say sit." So anyway, that just reminded me of that, and the fact that I am getting ready to go to Georgia. Not that Georgia is Tennessee. I recognize that they are completely different states with different personalities, but I am nevertheless heading to the South. I am taking my daughter, now 24 years old, which I cannot believe, and she's heading off for 2 years to go to the University of Georgia to do her master's degree in social work. She got a full scholarship, and we are so proud of her. And my brother, who is very into football, is thrilled that she is going to be a Bulldog. Go Bulldogs. So for now, I'm just really looking forward to being with her and getting her settled in her new life, in her new place, uh, in the humidity. And we're literally leaving on the midnight plane to Georgia. I had to get that in. Catching the red eye. So now I promise you this is all leading to today's episode. So I have spent time in the South, as I said, and let me just say the South is a fantastic place. It is also not necessarily known for saying, "Would you like a little steamed broccoli with that?" Right? There are biscuits, there's gravy, and there is fried everything. And there are cocktails. And apparently, right next to our hotel, there is this very famous ice cream place called Andy's Frozen Custard. And I guess I shouldn't say ice cream, it is actually frozen custard. And I've heard from a couple of my students, it's pretty much a gateway drug. They have these things called concretes and jackhammers, which has hot fudge literally down the middle. I don't know. Should that even be legal? So, welcome to Georgia, Rita. And I remember spending, like I said, that summer in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. And, not only did I get to know Flossie quite well, I gained quite a bit of weight. And I was still living in that old weight struggle mentality where biscuits and gravy and peach cobbler could easily become an excuse to completely disconnect from myself. Away from home Rita and regular Rita were apparently two different people. And maybe you know these two people too. I'm on vacation. I'll deal with it when I get home. I'm never going to be here again. I've got to try this. And suddenly you're eating like the state is about to run out of food, right? So, as I prepare for this trip, I have been doing something that I use quite a lot in hypnosis and in my own life, managing my own 31 years now of maintaining my ideal weight. And it's called future pacing, and I love it. And that's what I want to talk to you about today because future pacing is such a simple tool, but it can be incredibly useful, not only for reaching your bigger goals, but in those very small moments when you want the second drink, the dessert, the handful of something, or the food that you know may open the door to a whole evening of food noise. And I think one of the most powerful ways we can use the future is to help ourselves make a better decision right now. So, before we jump into future pacing, I do want to make sure you know about my upcoming in the future free weight release masterclass with hypnosis. It's live and it's going to be August 19th through the 22nd. I'm doing 4 separate sessions. So, okay, and in case you're confused, I realize that when I made this podcast before I headed to Georgia, I had my times all mixed up. So I am actually back, and we are doing this live masterclass this week if you are listening to this as this drops. So it's not that far in the future. We aren't pacing that far in the future. It is actually this week. So please come and join me at this. It's Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. There are classes, and I am raring to go back from Georgia, feeling great. And you'll hear more about my plans for the Georgia trip. But all went well, and I am back and ready to be with you. If you future pace yourself, imagine in the free online class with me where we're going to take a deeper look at the mental and subconscious roadblocks that can keep you stuck in the weight struggle, even when you know perfectly well what you should be doing. And I am going to help you begin cracking the code on what keeps pulling you back into the old patterns so you can start shifting them from the inside out and move towards long-term weight release, not short-term, long-term weight release with confidence and consistency. And as part of the masterclass, I'll be guiding you through a live free weight release hypnosis session. So you won't just be learning about this, you're going to actually get to experience the work. And you can save your seat. Like I said, just click the link in the show notes or go to www.shiftweightmastery.com/live. That's www.shiftweightmastery.com/live and get yourself, grab that seat. All right, now let's talk about future pacing. So, first of all, what exactly is future pacing? Well, future pacing is a technique where you mentally move yourself into a future situation. I like to think of it as hallucinating myself into a future situation and imagine yourself successfully responding the way you want to respond. And yes, it is commonly used in hypnosis. In hypnosis, we may take somebody into the future and have them imagine themselves encountering an old trigger, but responding differently. And you're not merely saying, I hope I do better. You're mentally rehearsing doing better. You're seeing it, you're experiencing it, and most important of all, you are feeling it because most change happens in the feeling brain. But you absolutely do not need to be formally hypnotized to future pace. Human beings future pace all day long. We imagine tonight, we imagine the weekend, we imagine vacation and Christmas, but unfortunately, sometimes we future pace the exact thing we don't want. I know I'm going to blow it this weekend. I know once I get to that party, I'm going to eat everything. I know I won't be able to maintain my ideal weight. I'll never be able to resist that dessert. Well, I always gain 5 pounds on vacation. Well, congratulations. You have just rehearsed the problem. See what I mean? What I want us to do instead is to begin rehearsing the solution. And the key here isn't just visualizing yourself as some perfect future person. What I really want you to do is connect with how do you want to feel when you arrive at that future moment? Because feeling is where this becomes powerful. So I want to begin with the bigger future pace. And this is what I am doing for Georgia, and I always do when I travel. Before I get on that airplane, I can close my eyes and I imagine myself coming home from Georgia. In fact, I close my eyes and I imagine myself on the plane coming home from Georgia and how I'm going to feel in my seat. I always remember this because when I struggled with my weight, I always felt like I would go to a destination on a plane and I always will have dieted before I left. And so I felt lighter in my seat. I could feel my thighs in a certain way in my seat. And I always felt bigger, more bloated, and everything in my seat coming home after, overeating on my vacation or time away. So what I do is I will future pace, even coming back on the plane, feeling light and aligned, feeling the exact same way that I did heading out on the midnight plane to Georgia, right? And then I will go further. I will see myself walking back into my house feeling good, unpacking, sleeping in my own bed, getting up the next morning, and I imagine everything with how I want to feel. I want to feel light, clear, and connected with myself, the most important thing. I want to feel like I had a wonderful trip with my daughter, enjoyed some great meals, participated fully in the experience, and still took care of myself. I do not want to come home thinking, oh God, okay, now I have to fix everything. I don't want to come home feeling swollen and uncomfortable and disappointed in myself and ready to start over. I've done enough of that for one lifetime. So I am starting the trip by imagining how I want to finish the trip. That's long range future pacing. And you can do this with almost anything. Maybe you're starting a 6-week boot camp. Don't just think, I need to exercise today. Go 6 weeks into the future and imagine finishing that boot camp. What does that feel like to know, oh, wow, my muscles feel toned. I showed up for myself. I feel stronger. I kept the promise I made to myself. How does that feel from the inside out? Or maybe it's simply this weekend. It's Friday afternoon, and before you move into the weekend, imagine yourself on Sunday evening. What would make you think that was a great weekend and I enjoyed myself? I stayed connected to myself. I felt light. I moved my body. I made good choices, but I still had fun. That gets your brain thinking in a different way and engaging you. Or the end of the month. Imagine yourself standing there knowing you exercised for the month. Maybe it wasn't perfect. Maybe there were days you didn't feel like it, but there were days also that life got in the way, but you just kept coming back. How does that feel? How does that feel that you stayed relatively consistent, kept showing up for yourself? Because what we're doing is making that future reward a little more emotionally available to us today. And that engages our subconscious mind on a deeper level, gets us working for us with that reticular activation system, and it just aligns us emotionally with the future. So, a question I love here is, what will future you thank today's you for? I'll ask that again. What will future you thank today's you for? I always think about that. So, now let's shorten the distance. Maybe you're going out for dinner tonight, or you're going to a party, a wedding, you're traveling short term, you're going to a friend's house, and you already know there's going to be some challenges. And this is a wonderful time to future pace. Let's say I'm going out to dinner tonight and I know I want to have a glass of wine. Great. I can see myself at the restaurant. I order my wine. I enjoy it. Dinner arrives. I'm having a lovely time. And then the server comes around and says, "Would you like another glass?" And now here is where I can rehearse. I can see myself checking in. Maybe I hear myself say, "No, thank you. I'm good." And instead of sitting there feeling deprived because poor little Rita couldn't have another glass of wine, I fast forward. I see myself getting home, taking off my makeup, getting into bed, and my stomach feels good. My head feels clear. And I think, oh, I'm so glad I stopped there. Then I even go further. I imagine waking up tomorrow morning and I feel rested and I don't have the fuzzy head and I don't have the why did I have that second or third drink conversation. So I put tomorrow morning at the table tonight. Or if I'm going out to dinner, I will also imagine leaving the restaurant feeling light and aligned with myself, having made great food choices as well. You can move yourself into future at any given point, but if there are challenging points, like that second glass of wine is a challenge for a lot of people when that waiter that they are trained to seduce you into the second and third drink when you see them coming, but you've already rehearsed it ahead of time. You've worked with your brain. Your brain is far more prepared than if you just show up and hope to do good. This is where future pacing can just really be a helpful tool. Because in the moment, the second glass of wine is here and tomorrow morning feels very far away. So, future pacing brings tomorrow morning into the room with you now. Okay, now let's say you're going to a party and before you leave home, you just take 30 seconds. You don't need a candle. You don't need spa music. You don't need to get into a lotus position. You don't need to be fancy pants about this. Just close your eyes and imagine yourself leaving that party. How do you want to feel as you're walking out that door? Maybe you enjoyed the food and you talked and engaged with people and you had a drink and you had fun. But you didn't get to the point where you're uncomfortable and saying, "Why did I eat all of that?" Imagine yourself leaving feeling free. That is what I like to do. It's like that feeling of freedom. Like, oh, I feel good, aligned in the driver's seat. And then go into the party. And now here's another thing. Sometimes we future pace beautifully at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And at 8 o'clock, after 2 hours at the party and all that stimulation, the social stimulation, all hell breaks loose. You're suddenly staring down the cheese board. Everybody's having another drink or a third. Dessert appears, and your inner rebel has put on a party hat. So, this is what you want to do: go to the bathroom. I mean it. Just excuse yourself and go into the bathroom, whether it's somebody's house or a bathroom stall at a restaurant, and take a breath and reconnect with yourself and use that future pacing again. Ask, how do I want to feel when I walk out the door tonight? See yourself leaving, see yourself getting home, feel it, and then carry that feeling back out of the restroom with you. Sometimes you just need to reconnect with the future because the environment has gotten really loud, overstimulating, and you get a little disconnected. It happens a lot. So I love escaping to the bathroom or going outside or going into the room where they throw all the coats on the bed, just somewhere quiet where you can be with yourself and pull yourself back into yourself and pull the future back to you. And you can also make future pacing part of your normal day. I think the morning is a perfect place for this. And in fact, if you're a student of mine, you know this because we future pace in our morning meditation. But you can do this while you're having your coffee, you're getting ready. Just take 30 seconds and mentally go to bedtime. And how do you want to feel when you get into bed tonight? What would make today feel aligned with your bigger goals? Maybe I exercised. I ate in a way that nourished and stabilized me. I didn't spend all afternoon grazing. I managed that challenging dinner. I stayed connected to myself. And then I would take it one step further and look at the places you already know are tricky in your day. Maybe 4:30 is when you come into the kitchen and start looking through the cupboards. So don't visualize some perfect day where you magically never want anything. Visualize 4:30. Visualize feeling that I need something. See yourself walking into the kitchen, see the urge, feel the urge, and then mentally practice what you're going to do. Maybe you make some tea, or maybe you're legitimately hungry and you have a snack that you planned. Or maybe you pause and ask, what do I really need? You're preparing your mind for reality. You're giving it options. And that is far more useful than preparing yourself for perfect fantasy land where nobody ever offers you a cookie or you aren't, prone to emotionally eat. Be real about your vulnerable moments and then work through them, practice them. And I assure you, you will get better out in the future when you're practicing and you'll bring that into your present. And keep working at this because it does take practice. Some of this will be really easy and very helpful for you right away, and some of it just takes a little practice. Now, this is where I want to spend a little more time with you because I think this may be one of the most valuable ways to use future pacing. Okay, let's imagine you want something. Maybe it's ice cream or cookies, chips, another glass of wine, whatever it is, and you feel that desire, that agitation. That feeling. The brain has become very focused. I want this. I want this. I want this. And our reward system is very interested in now. The food is here now. The pleasure is available right now. And the future consequences are over there somewhere out in Georgia. So rather than battling yourself, what if you use future pacing? What if you simply extend the movie? I love thinking about it this way because cravings tend to show us a very short movie, right? Cookie, bite it, taste it. End credits roll. But that isn't where the movie actually ends, right? Let's be honest. So keep the movie going. Okay, I eat the cookie. Then what? Well, maybe I'm completely satisfied and that's the end of it. Fine. But maybe you know yourself. And maybe that particular thing tends to wake up more food noise. One cookie becomes, maybe I'll have another. And then, well, I've already had two. Then maybe the inner critic appears and says, see, you blew it. And then perhaps the inner rebel says, well, you blew it, so screw it. You know your own pattern. I'm not asking you to scare yourself. I'm asking you to tell yourself the truth. What really happens next in this scenario? Now go 30 minutes into the future. Just hallucinate yourself out there. How do you feel after eating 3 or 4 or 5 cookies? How do you feel 3 hours into the future? Tomorrow morning, how do you feel? Again, this is not imagine what a terrible person you'll be if you eat the cookie. No, it's not about shaming yourself, and it's not about the inner critic coming in and swooping in and having an opinion. We're just expanding our awareness beyond the first bite, and it's so powerful. But now I want to introduce you to the really important part here. Don't just future pace the outcome you don't want. Future pace the outcome you do want. I call this leveraging dopamine, but we'll just call it double future pacing for the moment, okay? So the craving is here. We really want the thing. You don't eat it, and for a few minutes, you might be annoyed. You might think about it. Your inner rebel might submit a formal complaint. That's not fair. That's okay. Now, again, hallucinate yourself 30 minutes into the future. Where's the craving? Maybe it's already passed. Maybe you're watching television and you've completely forgotten about it. Now, 3 hours later, maybe you're getting ready for bed and you think, oh, wow, I'm really glad I made that choice. Then imagine tomorrow morning. How does that feel? Does it feel good? Not because you were good, not because you obeyed a diet, but because you showed up for yourself and you experienced an impulse without being required to act on it. That's powerful. That is freedom. And I think that is such an important distinction. We don't want to spend our lives feeling like we are slaves to food. We also don't want to spend our lives fighting food. We want to get to the point where I can want something and I can still decide. That is being in the driver's seat. So let me bring this back to Georgia and Andy's frozen custard that I will be able to see from my hotel's front door. Now, I know myself. There are foods I can eat and I'm done. And then there are certain foods that have historically opened up the door to more food noise for me. And if I decide that I'm going to abstain from going to this ice cream place, it isn't because ice cream is evil. It's because I know Rita. And I've spent a long time, almost 62 years, getting to know Rita. And so I can future pace it. I can imagine going there, eating the custard, the concrete or the sledgehammer or whatever it is, and then maybe wanting again the next night. And maybe that opens up the conversation. Well, I'm in Georgia. I may as well XYZ. Now the biscuits come in and the gravy, and then suddenly we've formed a committee. Or I can see the ice cream shop and I can think, oh, that looks amazing. And maybe I feel a little disappointed for a moment that I'm not having it. And then I walk on. 10 minutes later, I'm talking with my daughter, feeling free, not thinking about the big jackhammer in my stomach or the concrete in my stomach. We're doing something else. Life has moved on. And then I come home from Georgia feeling exactly the way I wanted to feel, connected, light, and free, proud of the way I cared for myself. That's the reward I'm choosing. And hey, I really want to be clear about this. Future pacing is not creating a contract with yourself that says, now that I visualized the perfect vacation, I must execute the perfect vacation. No, life is going to happen, plans will change, and there may be a meal you hadn't anticipated, or you decided to eat something that you thought you weren't going to eat. Fine. This isn't about being rigid. This is about having a destination. It's about working with yourself and not against yourself. It's about staying connected and keeping a relationship with a part of you who knows where you're going. And when you lose that connection, you reconnect. Maybe you future pace the entire week before you leave, or you future pace the restaurant before dinner, or you future pace in the bathroom in the middle of the party, or a few seconds before opening the freezer. The future can be 6 weeks away, or it can be 30 minutes away. So here is what I would love for you to practice this week. When you're facing a decision, stop for just a moment and ask yourself, where does this choice take me? And then mentally fast forward 30 minutes, tonight, tomorrow morning, Sunday evening, the end of the month, the end of the trip. Choose whatever future moment matters. See yourself there, but don't just watch yourself. Step into yourself. How do you want to feel? Free, light, strong, proud, connected, in the driver's seat. Let yourself really experience that feeling and then bring that feeling back into the present moment. You aren't asking the future you to come rescue you. You're allowing the future you to remind present you what you actually want. And here's a way to remember it. FAST. For fast, like fast forward. F, feel the impulse. Don't immediately obey it or fight it, just feel it. Feel the impulse. A, ask, where does this choice lead? What happens next? S, see the future. 30 minutes, tonight, tomorrow morning, or the end of the trip. T, take the feeling back. Bring the feeling you want into the decision you are making now. Fast forward. So feel the impulse, ask where this choice leads, see the future, take the feeling back to you. So as I get ready to head to Georgia, I am already visiting the end of my trip in my mind, seeing myself coming home, seeing my daughter settled at school, bittersweet, maybe tears in my eyes for leaving my baby behind all the way across the country. I can see myself walking in the house and feeling happy how I took care of myself. Not perfectly like, some sort of saint of Southern cuisine, but like me, enjoying my life, staying connected at the same time. And that's really what I love about future pacing. It's going to give me the gift of staying present with myself and really being able to be with my daughter instead of being with thoughts about what food comes next. So remember your thin thinking challenge for this week. Choose one future moment, maybe tonight, tomorrow morning, Sunday evening, the end of a vacation. Close your eyes for 30 seconds. See yourself there and feel how you want to feel. Then ask, what choice can I make right now that moves me towards that? All right, my friends, I am off on my midnight plane to Georgia. And I will let you know how things go with the biscuits, the gravy, and that Carl's, I think it's Carl's. I'm sure I'll know by the end of the trip. And I want to make sure you know about the upcoming free Weight Release Masterclass with Hypnosis, August 19th through the 22nd, 2026. The seats are limited, so go grab them now, www.shiftweightmastery.com, and we'll begin cracking the code on what keeps pulling you back into the old pattern so you can break it and move forward into a powerful, powerful future. And have a great week. And remember that the key, and probably the only key to unlocking the door of the weight struggle, is inside you. So keep listening and find it. And I will be back here with Jens next week. Do you want to dive deeper into the mindset of long-term weight release? Head on over to www.shiftweightmastery.com. That's www.shiftweightmastery.com, where you'll find numerous tools and resources to help you unlock your mind for permanent weight release, tips, strategies, and more. And be sure to check the show notes to learn more about my book, From Fat to Thin Thinking, Unlock Your Mind for Permanent Weight Loss.